We're going to talk some NFL now. Our good friend Zig Fracassi joins us from SiriusXM NFL Radio for a variety of NFL topics. How you doing, Ziggy? Good to see you, man. How are things in the Big Apple today?
It's about 50 degrees, Rod. Doing very well here on this Monday. How you doing, my man?
I'm okay. I just spent 3 weeks in South Florida where the Dolphins are all the hot topic. As you know, they're very excited there. And I've come to Canada for a month where they're expecting the worst blizzard in decades, Zig. So that's how I'm doing. I'm doing well. But I have to say this. I flew out of Boca Raton on Fort Lauderdale on Saturday morning, and news broke shortly after about Dwayne Haskins. How much has this rocked the National Football League, the death of the young Steelers quarterback?
Yeah, it's really stunning. Needless to say, when I first heard about it on Saturday, I think I was stunned just like anybody else. Here's a young man who, obviously things for whatever reason didn't work in Washington, was trying to make it happen in Pittsburgh. We had Josh Dobbs on our show yesterday and was his counselor. Josh was Dwayne's counselor at Elite 11 when at the time when Dwayne was actually going to commit to Maryland, but they ultimately went to Ohio State and they remained close. And Dwayne had this infectious personality, like to see people succeed. And, again, it's untimely, Rod, and my prayers and thoughts going out to the family, his former teammates, his widow. Really rather stunning that a young man is taken from us that early in life.
Absolutely. Tragic, the best way to say it. Ryan in Saratoga, New York. If you don't mind, Ziggy can take questions. He likes taking questions. Ryan's a huge Jets fan, Zig. He says a question for you. An insider from The Athletic noted that a ton of NFL free agents have said no to the New York Jets. Is this true for any team in free agency? And the author is full of it, or is this true?
For Ryan, I would say there might be an element of truth to it, simply because you look at it this way. Yeah, the Jets, obviously you're in the number one media market in the country, but you look at the dysfunction that this organization's had over the last decade. Some would say, well, since 1969, because they haven't been to a Super Bowl since, but they've had some good years. I mean, earlier in the 2010s and that, they were in AFC Championship games, so there was some possibility. But I think there's just an overall sense of them not being very well run, although I'm hoping that changes now with Joe Douglas as the GM, and I do like Robert Saleh as the coach. And hopefully the young man, Zach Wilson, develops as that franchise quarterback, which essentially they really haven't had since Joe Namath, although you would argue Richard Todd and there was Chad Pennington. There was a little bit degrees to success there, but still nothing Namath-like to that level. So long answer to the question, they probably are avoiding New York because, they see the dysfunction in that organization. And until that changes, Ryan and Rod, people probably would want to avoid the New York Jets as a free agent destination.
Well, I'll tell you what. People aren't avoiding the Miami Dolphins at all, and I got to tell you how pumped they are. We have a little segment here on this show, Zig, and here's what they're talking about on Miami Sports Talk today, and it's all Dolphins all the time. Even when they're bad, it is. But they got a new head coach. Tyreek Hill is a Dolphin. They've been active in free agency. They're getting a thumbs up from their fans. Dolphins aren't giving this division away to the Bills. How do you feel about the 2020 outlook for the Fins?
Obviously, you bring in Tyreek Hill, who's obviously a home run hitter, like use the baseball term in terms of football there, because he can stretch defenses and all that. You've already got Waddle on board, who was a first-round pick. You had Cedric Wilson, who I thought was it was starting to come on last year with the Cowboys, but he became a little too rich in terms of money for them to keep as a free agent. You had a very good left tackle in Teron Armstead, who, it's ironic, Rod. Normally the left tackle is so coveted because he protects the quarterback's blind side, but since the quarterback is a left-hander in Miami, some would view it as not as important. Still, left tackle is very important. So Teron Armstead, I thought, was a very good addition. They've spent the money Their defense already was pretty good. They redid Xavier Howard's contract. So I think now, Rod, that there is the time to win in Miami. I mean, they've flirted around the playoffs the last 2 years. They had 10 wins in 2020. Last year, they started 1-7, but they edged themselves back into playoff contention with that huge run. I think now's the time to win, and I also think now's the time for Tua to sort of alleviate the doubts that people have, and that he has to be that franchise quarterback. So optimism is high, and I think rightly so, but until you do it on the field, there's still questions to be answered.
Please give me the inside scoop on where Baker Mayfield is going to be playing football in 2022 and if he'll be the starter for that team.
Wow, what a dynamic that is, Rod. I mean, obviously, Baker is a guy, he took, he was a top pick and at times a little bit of a polarizing figure in Cleveland, but he did get them to the playoffs 2 years ago, regressed last year. And I think some of that was due to that injury he was playing through. Some of it looked like he quite honestly was quite jitterish in the pocket. You wonder what was going on with him. Wow. I can't see the Browns keeping him. That's for sure, because it depends on what Watson, if he does get suspended by the NFL. You already have Jacoby Brissett on. We had Josh Dobbs on our program yesterday from Pittsburgh. Now he's going to be a backup there in Cleveland. So the smart money, Rod, could say Carolina, even though there is buzz that they don't want him. Does Seattle entertain the thought? Do they really go into this season with Drew Lock as their starter unless they draft somebody? Or possibly Atlanta. Now, yes, you already signed Marcus Mariota, who's reunited with his Titans offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith. But would they look at that as a scenario? So there's sort of, to me, Rod, a 3-horse race, if you will, for Baker Mayfield.
We have less than a minute, but they want to know, one viewer wants to know who you think will win the AFC West. It's become the best division in the NFL. I think we would all agree it. One of the best anyways. Who's going to come out of it, Zig?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Denver, you had the franchise quarterback. You already have a good defense. They'll be in the mix. The Raiders, the trade for Devontae Adams, Rod, I thought was very, very good. And then, of course, you got the Chargers. They have the talent, but for whatever reason, maybe their issues are a little bit upstairs. I'm still staying with Kansas City. To me, they're the gold standard. We saw slippages of play last year. You still have a legendary coach. You have Mahomes. I mean, they've 4 straight AFC championship games. They're hurt a little bit by Hill, but I think they're going to do a more by committee approach in terms of the wide receiver spot. Defense is still a little shaky, but still, I think when it's all said and done, slight lean to the Chiefs. That's where I would be going in 2022.
Oh, wow. Yeah, good. Well, nobody will remember by the time it rolls around, I'm sure. Zeg, I've brought my satellite radio up from Florida. I missed it the last time. I forgot it the last time. I've been missing you, so I can't wait to be tuning in. Thanks for this today, my man. Good to see you.
Always good to see you, my friend. Enjoy your time in Calgary.
Thanks, pal. SiriusXM NFL Radio's Zig Fracassi. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of the Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.